hot issue, and the media is ice cold.
Freezing.
Welcome to the Outta Control show, folks. What's out of control?
Who's out of control?
Where's it out of control?
Why is it out of control, Kent?
Well, my man Rusty, I got to tell you, I don't know if you folks saw the other day, we just had some of the names released, potential people who were involved in foreign interference in our government. You know, for like the longest while, we've been saying release the names, tell us who the potential traitors in our government are.
Right.
Well, just the other day, there was a press conference.
Good morning. Canada's democracy has been under attack by authoritarian regimes. Chief among them is the People's Republic of China. And I'm joined today by leading experts on foreign interference. Sam Cooper, investigative journalist and author of Willful Blindness, 3rd edition. Dr. Charles Burton, senior fellow at Synopsis. And Michelle Junot-Katsuya, former Asia-Pacific Desk Chief at CSIS, the Canadian Security Intelligence Service. We're here today to address a question that all Canadians have been asking. Who are the parliamentarians who have been identified in a confidential report by the National Security and Intelligence Committee of Parliamentarians? In their special report, paragraph 164 states that NSICOP has, quote, seen troubling intelligence that some parliamentarians are, in the words of the intelligence services, semi-witting or witting participants in the efforts of foreign states to interfere in our politics, end quote. How can Canada have an election if Canadians don't know whether the people they're voting for has their best interests at heart or if they're serving a foreign master?
So, there was 4 politicians and 1 advisor that was named yesterday.
Right.
And I don't know how Buddy's doing this because, you know, the whole big thing has been this level of secrecy, right? Between the politicians are using it as like a weapon against each other. Where this journalist guy just comes out and like reads some names off a list pretty much.
So are these are the guys that everybody knows about except for Pierre and the gang?
Potentially.
Right.
Thank you, MP Vaughan. I'm here today to highlight some of the names and entities covered in my updated book and to pose a question. Should other Canadian journalists be examining the openly available evidence surrounding these networks? Firstly, my book recounts reporting on a 2020 tape recording provided to me, where Senator Yuen Pao Wu is heard in a 47-minute private briefing with the Canada Committee 100 Society. This group included Conservative Senator Victor O as an advisory member, along with an individual officially listed in a Chinese United Front Overseas Leaders Group. The Canada Committee 100 Society is led in Vancouver by Ding Guo, a journalist who is also an advisor to British Columbia Premier David Eby. Other journalists participating in this tape-recorded meeting with Senator Wu later supported Liberal candidate Parm Bains in 2021. Bains had told these journalists he opposed Kenny Chiu's Foreign Agent Registry Bill, describing it as an exclusionary policy. Ding Guo was also reportedly involved in the 2022 Conservative Party leadership race, alongside community leaders officially connected to Beijing's overseas influence arm, the United Front. I can provide more details later on how this should illuminate NSICOP 2024. In the taped meeting, attendees asked Senator Wu about his stance regarding United Front Work Department community group activities in Canada. These groups, according to CSIS, are central to targeting Canadian politicians for influence and election interference. Senator Wu expressed his concerns about Canada's focus on United Front groups, stating, "Whether you belong to an organization that happens to be listed as a United Front organization should not be a litmus test," and added, "I am fighting very hard against that type of litmus test."
I've jumped down the rabbit hole when it comes down to our election integrity in this country and our provinces. And it really boils down to the worker and the people that are hired to do that job. So you're basically relying on them to be honest and have a fair election. Well, everybody's got a price, Kent. And how easy it would be to put your own people or put, questionable people in that position to do your evil bidding. And I think that's where we could be right now. What's stopping it from happening? You want to be a poll worker, they take applications, and I don't know what the hiring looks like, but
For like Elections Canada at election time?
That's right, at election time and being hired on. And so who are these people? Are they thoroughly vetted to do that job? Because if they're not, then you're just throwing anybody in there.
Senator Wu's briefing to Canada Committee 100 Society effectively enables the legitimacy of agencies of the Chinese Communist Party in our country. This does call into question Senator Wu's intervener status in the inquiry. Senator Wu didn't comment to me about his remarks, but said I should question the Hogue Commission, who also didn't comment. Ding Guo has said there is nothing inappropriate with Canada Committee 100 Society activities. Therefore, in Willful Blindness 3rd edition update, I write, in a way, Senator Wu's intervention in the Hogue Commission seemed to fulfill his taped pledge to the United Front. He repeatedly filed submissions undermining Canadian intelligence and using Chinese intelligence talking points. My confidence that he appeared to act for Beijing was bolstered by information from a person I call Confidential Source 1, who confirmed that Senator Wu, appointed by Justin Trudeau, was under CSIS investigation. Confidential Source 2 also repeatedly stressed that Conservative Senator Victor O, an advisor to the Canada Committee 100 Society, was a significant target in CSIS's investigation into federal election interference. In Willful Blindness, I write about investigations that began in early 2019. I write, according to 3 national security sources, Liberal Cabinet Minister Mary Ng was identified in CSIS investigations as one of 11 Toronto area candidates clandestinely supported by Chinese consulate and United Front influence networks in the 2019 election. CSIS assessed that Mary Ng was unwittingly implicated in this interference network. Despite my requests, Mary Ng and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's office never responded for comment. As I write in Willful Blindness, Mary Ng was one of the key Ontario Liberal government staffers who moved to Ottawa with Trudeau, alongside more high-profile advisors like Katie Telford and Gerald Butts. 2 national security sources indicated that a specific CSIS concern was Ng's staff allegedly meeting privately with a Toronto consulate diplomat to consult on China-related issues. CSIS identified this diplomat, Zhou Wei, as a confirmed intelligence actor. According to one source, quote, we believe Zhou Wei worked with political staffers to provide information on meetings of elected officials and their whereabouts. We know staff have direction to report privately to the consulate on Mary Ng, end quote. This is a critical detail hinted at in the Hogue Commission's initial report, which, for some reason, did not disclose the involvement of Mary Ng's staff with Zhou Wei or clarify what this implies about Ng's position in Trudeau's cabinet. Thank you.
Now, there's a 5th one, and that's the one that started this all off, I believe, which was that Han Dong. And he was the fella, I believe it was in Ontario, 2019 or the election before, where they bust in a bunch of students, I believe, to vote in a certain riding. And that was around the time where China was holding the 2 Michaels. If you guys remember that, they were like holding 2 Michaels. You have to forgive me, I don't remember their last names, but they were using them for leverage for something. I don't know if it was for that Hawaii lady that we arrested on behalf of America.
Yeah, right.
Or for something else. But I
There's
remember
been a lot of Asian people that have been in the news lately for doing all sorts of things. Now we've got election and government interference. We did a show about the Wuhan laboratories and the Winnipeg laboratories, the WUA. So it's becoming a pretty serious issue. And how penetrated are we, Kent?
We're fairly penetrated.
Right? And
that we penetrate the cabinets.
And who are the penetrators? Because there's more than one country.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody wants to get into Canada. Let's just face it, Canada has a lot to offer, and it's ripe for the picking. So the more money you have, the more influence you can have in this country. And we're seeing it before our eyes with all these different groups, ethnic groups, right? The Chinese, the East Indians, who else?
The pro-Hamas people.
Pro-Hamas people. So because that's the beauty of Canada. Unfortunately, that comes with a price, because as our government has just had the floodgates open or the doors have been wide open here for 9 years, the first thing Mr. Trudeau said when he got elected was the very first thing is he's bringing people in. That was like the very first thing he did. And from that point on, the doors have been open, and it's come with a price, and we're going to have to pay this price. There's not much we can do about it, but it all falls down to this kind of stuff right here with foreign intervention and having countries being able to, I guess, strong arm their way. Like how many Khalistanis? Well, because Mr. Jagmeet Singh is a Khalistani, right? I believe that's...
I think so, yeah.
Right? That'd be fair to say. And these are the guys that are running around demanding certain treatments and
well, I think
access to
that
land,
they're
right?
I think they're the separatists of
Right.
India.
That's right.
They're kind of like the Bloc Québécois
That's
of
right.
India.
But they're not...
And they don't like each other, India and this group, no.
Right,
And there's
that's
a
right.
large group of them in Canada,
Right.
yes.
So they've brought this beef here to Canada where that's unacceptable behavior. That's not very Canadian. So do us as Canadians have to now accept this and tolerate that behavior in the streets, running around with, well, look at the one guy. He got busted. He had a AK-47s. Like, he wasn't very smart. You know, you don't put your restricted fully automatic firearm on social media. That's just dumb. He's dumb, and they got popped, thankfully. But how many other guys are like that out there? Well, if he has one, who else has one?
I'm pretty sure you can't legally own a fully automatic.
That's right. So how did he get it?
Well,
so
it's
here
illegal.
you go.
It's illegal.
Exactly.
So, but here's the thing is, I think that's all part of also the identity politics where they separate us all by our race, religion, gender, all that. Because here's the thing is we could be mad at this group over here. We could be mad at this group over here. We could be upset at the traitors in our government, who, if it's these people that have been named or not. But at the end of the day, it's Canadians who've been in charge still.
That's right.
These, even if there are some traitors in our government, there's Canadians still running the show. And they're the ones that have turned a blind eye to this. They're the ones that have hid information. They're the ones that give the redacted paperwork to the police. They're the ones that allow it to happen. Just like they say, don't be upset at all the immigrants that came in. Be upset at the people that opened the floodgates.
That's right.
So it's the same idea in my mind with this is, yes, if there are traitors, you need to call them out, prove them guilty or not, and then put them in jail, right? But at the end of the day, there's people above them. Like there's one traitor that wasn't named the other day in this press conference, and I would have to say, in my opinion, his name is Justin Trudeau. And the reason I say this, and I can stand behind what I'm saying, is because he knows the names. He knows who these people are.
Yeah, he's known for
at least a year or more.
Or better.
So when they use this as a game, as a political
Well,
weapon, like when they go, oh, Pierre needs his security clearance, blah, 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 and that's what the media talk about for 2 weeks, is Pierre not having. You know who had security clearance? Justin Trudeau, the guy in charge of our country who knows these names and doesn't do anything about it, but uses it as a weapon against conservatives because there might be an election. That's bullshit. That's not a guy who's protecting Canada. He's protecting his ass.
That's right. He's hanging in there for the pension, like he needs it.
Well,
but
he's got it, I think.
no, he's got
Trudeau's been there 9 years.
9 years.
He's got it. But
If-
Jagmeet ain't. He ain't got it yet. The Bloc Québécois pulled their support there today.
They
so
sure did.
if they're got any stones or there's
So does that
there
still
could
force an
potentially be-
election?
no,
Can
they have to have a vote of non-confidence in the House.
Right, but they need enough people to do that, right,
Mhm.
to win that. So if they don't have that count, they're not.
Jagmeet could vote
we're waiting
Liberal.
till-
I have no idea.
We're waiting
yeah.
till October 2025.
Yeah. So there was 5 people named, 4 politicians. One of them was conservative. 1 advisor to NDP Premier David Eby in BC. We have Han Dong, the guy. He was not named yesterday, but he kind of kicked off the whole investigations.
And these are the first ones.
And that's
There's
the first
got-
ones.
who
And then
knows
there's
how many
Trudeau.
more there are, right?
So
Are they coast to coast? This is just BC.
this is just our House of Commons. This isn't our universities, our science labs,
That's right.
our bio labs, our banks, our
Well,
industry,
we've
our manufacturing.
seen that it is in our biolabs.
They're everywhere.
So
They might have one here, might have one there. They might be honeypotting a guy. They might not even have someone in the company, but they got a hot chick going to, have dinner with an engineer
right,
like James O'Keefe
That's
used to
right.
do with Project Veritas.
yeah,
You get the guy a couple drinks in him, he's telling you all about vaccines and how
Yeah.
they tested him in a monkey's ass or whatever.
right,
And,
yeah,
and it's just like, oh shit.
yeah.
They don't know him on camera. They're on camera because they're getting honeypotted.
That's right. And
They're making macaroni sounds.
it's amazing how well there was just one the other day that I came across.
Honeypotting?
Yeah, honeypotting.
Uh-oh.
This guy was a Democratic poll worker.
Uh-oh. It sounds like he was working.
Oh yeah, and during the 2020 election, how they were like torching Trump votes as many as they can. And
They're burning ballot boxes down right now in the States.
Yeah.
I saw at least a couple on fire.
that's right. So
There's an organized something to burn mail-in ballots.
it's out of control. And this, I don't even know, like TikTok, Kent, are we going to make it to that day? What's going to happen? Like it's a buzz. There's never been an election, I think, in the history of mankind that's been this crazy and out of control, just on both sides. And what could happen after that? And what really,
I think it's going to be like everyone, if we're talking American elections, at least the last few I've paid attention to, it does seem that they have ramped up in intensity each time,
I think they've been
right?
kinda
But now that's
driven in
like,
that.
but I think
direction.
there's been so much lying now for like 8 years or 10 years that people have really started to come around. A lot more people anyway, at least got wise that what they're being told in the news is not always truthful, right? So it's more and more now, especially after the pandemic, after the past election in America. We saw videos of, we're not saying the whole election was, when Trump lost, was bogus or whatever, but there was absolutely video of people stuffing ballot
That's right.
boxes and
There's-
doing
there's a
some
lot of
nefarious
evidence
shit.
of- and we don't
There's
know.
dead people
could
voting
be-
and-
it could be both sides.
It could be
stuff
both
in
sides.
the boxes.
Yeah, yeah.
Like we're not just saying it's Democrats. We're not saying it's Republicans. It's not
See,
conservatives. It's not liberals. You know what? It could be both of them.
It could
doing
be, or doing it to
because
each other themselves
That's right.
for publicity.
So we have no
You never
idea
know.
how rigged the system is. Well, we're getting a little taste of it. And with these, as time goes on, we'll learn a little bit more, and we'll just get a little more depressed because it's just, as we find out how crooked the system is, there's no trust. So now,
And that's in the media as well.
who do you turn to when you can't trust
The Outta Control show.
That's right. You can trust us, folks.
We're gonna try to give it to you straight anyway. We ain't
That's right.
perfect.
We're not
But,
perfect, but we need to have discussions and we need to come up with solutions. And at the end of the day, we need to do it in a peaceful manner. We're teetering on the edge of destruction these days. And every day with what's happening on either corner or part of the globe, it could change in a split second. It could change by tomorrow morning, and that's how real the day and age we live in, like some tense times. So having to deal with more stress because now your government, who, remember, they kicked a little sand in Mr. Putin's face there, and they're in full support, and we've picked a side in that conflict, and that now makes us a target.
Well, Trudeau and them picked a side. We are.
That's right. As Canadians,
as us two dudes
That's
sitting
right.
here, we just don't want people to die.
that's right.
Right? I'm not.
Yeah,
we're not pro one side or anything. I mean, if we see something that's funny, we'll say it. If we see something
That's right.
we dislike, we'll say it too. Right? And we're not experts on any of this. We're just sitting around having a beer, chatting with y'all. Right? But our problem is we know we have problems in our government. We know they make bad decisions, and they are so embroiled in like covering their ass, the internal liberal revolt, hiding this information, hiding the traitors, hiding the SDTC scandal, which we still have to do a video on and which will be coming, folks. But there's so much going on that I can't believe the media has not reported this. I don't know what's going on with that. Like there are, I looked into it, there's 338 MPs, right? 338.
338.
There's 44 MPs currently in Canada, federal MPs who are foreign born. Now, I don't have a problem with you being foreign born if you come here and do good things and, your loyalty is with Canada. But being foreign born, you do have a little bit more chance of perhaps being influenced. If you have family that can be threatened elsewhere, business is or whatever elsewhere.
Or you're just brought here for
Right.
that reason.
Or you're just,
and
yeah.
you're paid accordingly, or really you're probably the what it costs to get here is now you're indebted to, and these people will work for the rest of their lives possibly to repay that. And that happens all over the world. You're telling me it's not happening here in Canada? Well,
Oh, yeah.
there's mines up north that are owned by the Chinese, and they fly their own workers in. They have a runway there, and they basically do their own thing. So, and didn't I think the South Koreans wanted to do the same thing with the battery plant down east, that they were going to supply their own workers. So they have these new they say that they're creating all these jobs, but who's getting these jobs? It's not Canadians by the looks of things in these couple cases.
In those cases, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just another example. So we're living in very wild times, and we I'd say be thankful for the day you had, and
Yep.
and look forward to the day to come, because tomorrow's never guaranteed, right? And we just got to be grateful that we still live in a pretty peaceful part of the world, all in all.
Yeah, we report a lot of the negative stuff on Canada because that's what we think is important. We all know the good things, and you're correct. We should be reminded of those things as well. But I think we, as much as I hate to focus on it, we try to talk about the things the government, the media won't, or they speak about briefly and then.
Well, the
gone,
crazy
right?
thing is, though, Ken, the media really doesn't cover very much because it's been like there really isn't real journalism or real reporting of things. There are so many things that are happening in a day, and what they choose to cover is a lot of it's really dull and a lot of it's very negative, and they thrive on that negative energy, I think, or I don't know what's going on, but the positive stories are hard to find. But there is, and there's a lot of cool stories if you know where to look, because the world around us is a very dynamic place and so many different aspects of it. And like space alone, we've had some pretty cool things happen so far this year, and some of the best auroras that were some of the strongest space storms we've had in a little while. So, you know, these the world is it's cool, and I'm really thankful that we get to witness what's going down, even if we do have some traitors. Hey, we're always going to have traitors. It's never going to end, Kent, and it's the ongoing battle of good and evil, brother. And that shit will go on when we're long and gone, or maybe when we come back. It'll still be going on, because I think that's what makes this world go round, right? It's just like our logo, brother. It's the good fucking chasing the evil, right? And that's the way it keeps going. That's what keeps the planet rolling.
Thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, and share.
Take care, folks.
Rusty J, Kent C. Straight.
Ciao.
Later.
This is Canada. Maple syrup and